Public Safety Committee. And we'll start off this evening. I'll entertain a motion on the minutes from the last meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I have read over those minutes and I move that we approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any questions or additions? Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I don't know what happened here. It's definitely got to be a misprint with juvenile detention being first on the list.
I'm gonna give you my copy. Good evening.
Hi, Steve.
Good.
Good.
Okay, month of October is before you. On our yearly activity report, I was just going to mention that Lincoln County and Lake, we received those checks today, so that's not indicated, but we did receive them. And we got a partial payment from Coffee County, but we know what's going on there, and that's not going to be problematic at all. And beyond that, I think that I can answer any questions that you may have. The only other normal business is that our rap sheet is going to look a little different than what you've seen in the past. We're trying to break it down to where it's more easily understood. There's two charts on that page. One is the kids that are being detained and those that are being released, to give you a better idea of what's happening in general. And so I can answer questions about that, and then I do have something that wasn't on the agenda that I'd like to do, but it's a quick matter. It's just a county contract.
So these, well, you must be tutors. So you have a teacher and you have an EA that comes in?
We have,
Quite
yes.
often, it looks like.
They, the teacher is an employee of our department, and the EA is grant money that we receive
Okay.
from the Title I funding.
We've got pretty good around it, because these are high school kids we're talking about.
Yes, well, the majority are, but
So, have any questions on any of Ms. Duke's reports? No, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, your other item?
okay, before you is our standard, this is the PREA portion of the contract with Stewart County. We have been contracting with Stewart County for some time. They did not get the updated PREA portion of that contract, so that's what this is, just to get them completely up to date. It's more a bookkeeping measure than a brand new contract. And so hopefully that we can move that forward.
You want to tell everybody what the PREA?
PREA is the Prison Rape Elimination Act. It's a federal act that all the correctional facilities have to work under. And this language in our contract helps them, or helps us to be compliant with that act.
And this allows us to dot the i's and cross the t's.
Yes, it does.
Does anybody have any questions of Ms. Duke? If not, we'll entertain a motion for approval.
A motion to approve the amendment as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Correctional Work Center. Must be an easy one, you let your captain outside.
I'm hoping that's so. First up is our November board meeting. It was held on the 6th. It's just kind of normal monthly board meeting. Second thing on there I want you to take a look at is a lot of times we get asked when the inmates aren't out working, what are they doing? And that's a program schedule for October. You can see it stays pretty busy with rehabilitative education and faith-based programming throughout the day and night.
Are they required to take some of these
Some of
classes?
them, yes, some of them are required. And everyone in our work release program is required to go through classes when they're not at work. And next is the yearly activity report. No significant changes from last month. Our population is down a little bit this month than it was last month. We had several releases, but it'll be on the next one. Next up is the work release program. We've got all 34 positions filled right now. It's still going strong.
Why don't you just give us a brief description of what this is? We have a lot of interested people here tonight that probably don't know much about it.
Well, our work release program is basically a program that's put in place for inmates who are qualified to go to work as opposed to spend all their incarcerated time in the facility. They're able to go out during the day. They're transported to one of the partnering companies that we have by our staff, and then they work all day at that particular facility or that organization, and they're able to earn a wage to pay back fines, fees, child support, that type of stuff, and then possibly save some of that money so whenever they're released from incarceration, they'll have something to go out of the jail with. Each day they get up about sometimes about 4 o'clock in the morning, begin to get ready. They each wear an ankle monitor on their leg, and that is set up to where it's on a GPS, kind of like maybe some of your parents may have on your cars. And basically what that does is it allows us to set a field. So if that inmate gets outside that perimeter, then it sounds an alarm and it goes straight to our coordinator, who will then check that out and make sure. So if say the perimeter is this room, if we step outside this room, it'll go off. At the end of that 8 hours or 9 hours, our staff will go and pick them up and bring them back to the facility, and that's where they'll stay until the next morning. So that's a little bit about work release. The next sheet is our monthly worker report. We'll take a look at that. It reflects that we saved the county and the municipalities that we work with approximately $122,000 this past month. That's about average.
Any questions for Superintendent Coate?
I'll make the motion to approve his report as presented.
A motion
Second.
and a second. Further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Get outside that perimeter.
Apparently I'm long-winded, so you want me to be quick. That shouldn't be too bad tonight.
Okay.
Okay. We can always draw it out though. We'll start with probation and recovery court.
Probation's fine.
Okay. Probation was a pretty good month for October. For the total for the month, our expenditures were $113,642.60. The total revenue brought in, just from the probation standpoint side of it, was $99,579.31. Adding into the court expenditures and other fines and fees that we collect, that was an additional $114,949. So basically netted $115 for the month. Our numbers are ever increasing.
Any questions for Mr. King? We'll just go ahead and take these all together at the end for approval, okay? After Mr. King gets through.
The only thing for probation that's on the report was there may be a need where I need to get with the mayor to potentially hire 3 additional staff members. One for a pretrial release program that the judges and the general sessions courts are trying to implement. I will need someone to supervise those offenders that are released. And the other is potentially the clerk may pull out collecting probation funds. And if she does do that, then I will need staff to be able to collect that money. So we don't have a definite yet, but I just wanted to kind of throw that out there to let everybody know that that may be a possibility.
Okay, why to the last? Why is it?
Because I think of the audit, because of the separation of duties, she's afraid that having her clerks operate out of different drawers instead of the same drawer and having 2 different departments' monies, that if something happens, she will be dinged for it. I think it's just more of a separation at that point. The clerk under the statute has the authority to collect probation's funds, and that's kind of the auspice we've been operating under. Hopefully we can come to some sort of resolution, but if not, I'll need at least 2 clerks to be able to collect those fees.
Does that just ramp up your running out of space if that happens? Or would they be in different areas that wouldn't be impacted?
It shouldn't impact a lot. I will have to kick Melissa's staff out from down there, so she'll be moved back to her own spot. But no, I mean we're busting at the seams anywhere we go.
Yeah.
So I have 1 employee in another office right now, so
Okay.
we'll make do.
If we have to hire you 2 clerks, will that free up 2 clerks that she already has?
It should.
Okay, thank you. We'll keep that in mind, right?
Why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it should. I mean,
Doing it now?
and I mean, I know she has a need to, but I mean, I don't want to speak for on her behalf, but I just wanted to, I'm still want to meet with the mayor to see if there's a way that we can salvage and come to some sort of a conclusion. But I just wanted to prepare everybody just in case if it does come down to that area. Then on the recovery court side, our numbers are ever increasing. We're getting busier and busier, which is a good thing. We had a total of 48 participants in the month of October. We were up 7 from September. We did have 6 graduate. I can tell you the month of November will be over 50. So we are ever increasing. As you can see from the stats sheet in the drug court, still our biggest hurdle right now is the opiates. At least 40% of our drug court participants are opiate addicts. Marijuana is second at 18. The biggest increase right now is, no surprise, is heroin. It is going up. It's a much younger crowd. A lot of our newer participants coming in are 19, 20-year-old kids. So we have a lot of meth users that are coming back, except it's not smoking meth, they're injecting it IV. So that's a different animal that we're going to have to deal with in that as well. In our DUI court, our numbers slightly went down just a little bit, but they will increase back up, especially after Thanksgiving and the holidays. We tend to see a spike in our DUI programs. We're at 35 currently. 40 in the month of November, potentially, but even 4% of our DUI offenders right now are opiate heroin addicts. Veterans Court, it's maintaining, we have a potential of increasing 3 or 4 by year end, so to bring us back closer to 20. That program's going pretty strong. I do have the ability to hire a therapist for our veterans program. It's been posted. I'm just waiting for the right candidate to come along. Mental health court is my biggest need. We're currently at 21 for the month of October. We'll be at 25 to 26 by the end of this month, and I have 1 staff member assigned to that court. That is my greatest challenge, and I have a total of about 30 to 40 applications waiting. So by far, that is my biggest need. We did have 2 commit suicide in September in mental health court. That was a shock to us both. But it's a tough population to work with. It really is.
I understand Judge Tidwell is going to retain that court when he becomes circuit court judge. That's good.
It is a great program. It's doing really well. We hate to lose anybody, but I think that's going to happen. Other than that, subject to any questions y'all may have, that's my report.
Any further questions? There's none. We'll entertain a motion on all the reports.
Make a motion to approve all the reports as presented.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. Further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trey.
Not too bad. Yeah, Michael. Brad, you okay?
Uh-oh. Probably last month you came all by yourself.
I know.
Now you brought
I
your
know.
sheriff with you.
I'm just hanging around.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. Seeing how it's done, right?
That's it.
Got your amendment first, is that the
Yeah,
first one?
uh-huh.
Y'all know we signed the building, it's ours now, so now the fun part begins. But we need to get 150,000 out of the restricted for public safety 122, and we're gonna put it in a 799 account. And it's gonna be just for your phones, your security. And we did put about, our estimate was around 130, but I just didn't want to have to come back. So we put it at 150.
It's gonna be a luxurious place?
No.
No.
It'll be luxurious.
Okay, but at least there'll be room, right?
It'll be room, that's
Okay.
true.
You heard the request.
I move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions? Call the roll, please, Becky.
Commissioner Gurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper,
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Yes. And the reports, anything special?
I added, we're gonna do this quarterly for y'all, is the food service report is at the very back.
I don't think we have it,
Current-
Trouble, unless
Y'all
somebody
not?
says it all the way at the end.
It is on the very,
Sorry.
Maybe the last page.
Yeah.
Very last.
and this is based on I'm gonna bring y'all every 3 months.
Okay, thank
I'll
you.
bring you that.
Okay.
It's not been perfect, but we're getting there, right?
It's moving better towards what our goal was, is to reduce the food cost. And if you look at the first 3 months and then take a look at taking this out to a year, right now our projected savings are $334,000 if we continue with what our first 3 months are showing us. And so this is in the range of what we were hoping for that we would achieve out of going to the private food service.
People realize that we're serving 57,000 meals a month. I think it would be, that's a lot.
A lot of meals.
Mhm. What's our average daily attendance been running?
We've been running high. Our average daily attendance is on, if you look at your inmates fed per meal,
ADP.
the last October is 895 inmates fed per meal. So we've been running particularly high. We've got a lot of pre-trial. We've got, of course, as you heard from probation, as drugs affect them, it's affecting our population too, because we're receiving inmates because of that. And one of the things that we're seeing an increase on average of about 20 females from what we have been having. So this is something we've not experienced before. So our female inmate population has increased considerably, and that's been drug-related also.
That put a bind on you, room-wise and all that?
Room-wise on the female it has. Yes, sir, it has.
I think this one, there's 8 on the floor.
We've had 8 on the floor recently.
Anything else of notice that we should pick up on the jail or the sheriff's budget?
We're
Pretty much in
trying.
line?
We're
Pretty
trying.
much in line, we're trying. I think we're pretty well right on, or within, at least within the range of where we want to be on our budget. And Raleigh obviously has set us back in some areas, but we're watching that very closely. We push that on down the road and see what we can.
And the Raleigh number changes depending on who reports it.
It does. One of the big problems we've got, we are taking a look at, we had over 31 agencies that came to our aid. And of course, we're trying to get a count from all those agencies. Some of them haven't reported, and we're still trying to secure that information from them. But it's well over $500,000 and probably going to be approaching more like 600,000. If you look at what the other agencies contributed, if we had to do that all ourselves, it'd be about $600,000. But it's all told, it's looking at 600,000 right now for all the agencies. We had well over 600 people here that came in to support us.
A lot of people involved.
Yes, sir.
Further questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve their report is presented.
Second. Second. Further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Good night.
Thank
Sheriff.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sheriff, I want to mention one other thing. I know in the first part of January, you began your Citizens Academy.
Yes, sir.
And just a reminder of people that may not have signed up, they need to do so. It's 15 weeks of a lot of good information to find out what's going on in this county, to see a lot of things that our sheriff's department is involved in, as well as see other things that affect their county. So I would recommend it.
Well, I appreciate that, because I think if anybody really wants to see what the operation is, and honestly, they get to look at every facet of what we do, that's the place to do it. And the other thing that we derive out of that is we have an alumni association that comes out of that. And they came and volunteered their service during the rally as far as keeping our troops nourished and whatnot, and of course they provided an invaluable service to us. So there's a lot of involvement that they get involved in. It's good work.
I know you got, well, there's 2 commissioners sitting here that
Yes.
we've been on there
Yes.
and done that, but I think it was the best 15 weeks I've spent as far as finding out the county here. I mean, we learned about SORT, we learned about the fire departments, not just the sheriff's department. You're teaching out there, so I suggest they contact your office there and
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
sign up. And the good part of it, it's free.
It's free, and we'd love to have everybody. I think you'd really get an education. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Good.
I'm trying.
Good evening. How are you?
In the month of October, we had 22 injuries to county employees requiring medical attention. You'll see the breakout there. That brings the total for the year to date to 182. Of the total for the year, the 182, 109 of them are OSHA recordable. 45 had restricted days, 25 had lost time days, and 39 all others. Next page of your report will compare this year to the 2 previous years. And as far as the actual claim count, we are up a little bit this year over the 2 previous years. Just to remind you that we did have a new school open up and additional school county employees this year has increased. But we're at 182 this year. At the same time, last year it was 163 and the year before that 168. The next page of your report will show the incurred dollars. We're at $609,000 this year compared to $411 last year and $441 the previous year. I bring your attention to the injury or the spike in May. Basically, it's $200,000 for one particular injury. If you took that off, we'd be less than what we are for the 2 previous ones. So that one injury is what's caused it to go up like that. For the month of October, the 22, the total incurred dollars for the month was $54,924. 18 of those injuries were with the Board of Education, and the incurred dollars were $19,094 for the Board of Education. And the remaining 4 were with the County General, and the County General had $35,830. And the last page of your report will break down where those 4 for the County General are. And you'll see that they were with the Sheriff Department, Juvenile Detention, Ambulance Services, and PAWS.
Questions on the report? I'll entertain a motion.
I move for its approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Gregory, pause.
Just kind of hit the highlights on the report. We've got something else to talk to you about. But basically for October, we had 657 animals come into the shelter. We had an 8.7% euthanasia rate and an overall live release rate of 87.5%. So we're tickled to death that number has been in the single digits for the past several months. We want to continue that. As far as our rabies and bite exposures, we had one animal that was tested during the month did not come back as positive, so it's been a loss. Since we've had a positive, we're happy about that as well. Does anybody have any questions over the rest of that report? Like I said, I hit the highlights for you.
Now we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the report.
A second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Got another handout that I've given you. The first page on that is a copy of the Tennessee state law, and then the second page is taken out of our rules and regulations. If you'll see on that second page, under Article XI, it talks about animals coming in, if they have identification tag, microchip, whatnot, that it's held for 5 business days, and then if not reclaimed in that time frame, it can be adopted, humanely euthanized, or otherwise disposed of. In the second portion of that, you see any dog or cat without identification or microchip shall be held for 3 business days, and if not claimed, shall be placed for adoption, humanely euthanized, or otherwise disposed of. We're asking to take out the phrase "or otherwise disposed of" in both of those locations. The reason being is, if you go back to the front page, under 68.8.107, there's a subsection C, and it talks about an animal may be adopted or destroyed unless legally claimed by their owner within 3 days. What we'd like to do is take out the other or otherwise disposed of from our rules and regs and align that more with the state law. The reason being is by doing such, the law does not address the feral cat program that we're doing or if we were to go to a return to field program in the future. So when a TNR cat comes in now, we have to hold it for 3 business days in our facility based on what our rules state, not what the state law dictates. Since the state law only addresses adoption or destroy, it says nothing about returning an animal back to its original habitat, to the field, or doing a TNR program. So in a sense, it's what other departments are using to be able to bring those in on day 1, have them go back out on day 3, versus we're bringing them in on day 1, and some days it's day 5, 6, 7, or even longer, depending on the business days, before we can put that feral cat back out. So what it should do is decrease our length of stay. By doing that, it's going to decrease our daily census, and we should see savings on our part-time help and our costs associated with that.
What do you want from us, a motion to that effect?
We need to go through everything, and I'm sure it will have to go to the full commission. A motion to amend Paul's rules to take out the or otherwise disposed of phrase. I've said a lot, I guess, to get back to that, so thank you for saying that.
Well, it'll align us more with the state, probably save us some money in the long run, and it's not going to hurt anything.
I mean, it puts us right in line with the state law. All we've done is add that additional phrase to that state law when technically we didn't have to. And I think at the time we never really foresaw us doing a trap neuter release program. But of course, as the animal control field evolves and whatnot, that's become a very vital piece to our department.
I'd like to make a motion to amend Article 11 of Paul's rules to remove the otherwise disposed of from sentences 1 and 2.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Is there any need for the legal to look at it?
I originally spoke to the mayor. It went to Blake and to Josh. They said they can't give a definitive answer one way or the other on it because the law doesn't specifically state a trap neuter release program. I took that information back to the mayor. The mayor asked me to bring it to you all to start through the process.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you. Mr. Nunley, ambulance service. How are you, sir? Good.
We made 2,891 calls in the month of October. Our average response time is 7.5 minutes. There was 59 DOAs, and of those we sent 19 for autopsy. We billed $1,533,651 and collected $651,890. We have a projected yearly collection of $8,144,667. Insurance write-offs of $512,016 and collection agency write-offs of $389,607. The chart at the bottom of the page is the breakdown on each individual ambulance that we have. We drove a total of 52,371 miles. The average cost per mile was 40 cents per mile. The next page is our activity page. We had 7 different in-services and training sessions. Our pedal medics provided coverage at MTSU football game. And our TOPS team, which is our participation in the sheriff's SWAT team, participated in 4 different things with them. We had medical coverage for 8 different things that you see there. Actually, it was many more because the high school football games and MTSU football games were multiple games. And our SORT team had 10 or 11 different things that they participated in, or trainings that they participated in for the month. The next page is a breakdown of the SORT calls. On the last page of the report is just a chart that indicates how many hours that our personnel not working for the month. That's always a challenge because, for instance, right now we have 3 people out on FMLA. None of them were hurt on the job, so they were all off duty when they had accidents, but nevertheless are out for an extended period of time, and that creates issues with filling those empty spots. So this kind of gives you an idea. So when I come back later in the year and say I need some more money. And all the rest of these are various thank you notes that we received for the month.
Any questions for Mr. Nunley?
How many vehicles do we have on the road at max time or any time, really?
16 is what we have available for each day, but in the case where we needed more, we could staff some more pretty quickly.
So, I mean, I was just kind of giving the girls or ladies a idea that we have 16 ambulances that do almost 2,900 calls a month. So
They're very busy.
they do a great job.
Thank you. Commissioner Gurley lives close to one of our stations. He can attest to the fact that they're busy.
He hears them.
They're busy.
Okay. Further questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the report.
We have a motion, we have a second. We have a second. Further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, sir. Mr. Cash.
Good evening. You have my report in front of you. I'll hit a few of the highlights there. Start off as a relatively busy month. We had exercise. Everything was going on the last time we had this meeting, or the day after, 45th Civil Support Team, and then we rolled right into assistance with the Rutherford Rally. We did manage to teach one class, hazmat class, to the Sheriff's Office for in-service this month. We also had a highly successful, on the 20th, highly successful PIO group meeting. We brought in, we have PIOs throughout the county with different agencies, public information officers, and especially with public safety. They play a huge role on an expanding incident. You've seen some of them on TV on occasion. But we like to make sure we have the right relationship with the media. So what we did is we did a media panel. We brought in television, print, and social media people, and basically asked them a bunch of questions and talked to them for, we had to cut it off at 2.5 hours because it kept going on and on and on. But it was really great. We had great support from local media as well as some Nashville TV stations who were there, and you know, get an understanding of what they want, because Of course, we like the media because that helps us get out significant and important information concerning public safety. Of course, they like public safety organizations because we give them their stories. So it's a good relationship to have. And we're probably going to do this again in the future, but it was really great, and we got a lot of, believe it or not, the biggest help on this was Hannah Bleem, who works for Solid Waste, and she's their public information person, but she helped put this together and did great things for us. And although she's not traditionally public safety, she really did a great job, and I just want to say in here that Mac Nolan and Hannah did a great service to public safety that day and helped us out. I appreciate it. Upcoming events, it being, toward the end of the year, there's a few meetings with TEMA coming up. The biggest things coming up soon is Emergency Management Association of Tennessee is going to have their conference. It was delayed from October due to a lot of deployments out of the state. So it's now been rescheduled for the last 3 days of January. As far as our responses for this month, we had 6 of them, none of them very large, mostly hazardous material spills such as diesel fuel, etc. And that's my report, subject to any questions you might have. I do have one more thing. There's the EMPG grant that I would like for y'all to forward on to budget. But I'll talk about that here in a minute.
Any questions on the report? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the report is presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes.
FEMA has what's called the Emergency Management Performance Grant Program, which the states manage on their own, and each county can do this, and it's an annual thing. Y'all probably heard me talk about it before. We get $69,350 based on their population and hazards formula that they use at the state level. We have to match it. Of course, that matching is my budget, and as you already know, my budget's more than that. I'm sure y'all be happy if it was that, but and I'm sure taxpayers will be too, but it is significantly larger than that. But this goes to helping us pay for just generally having an emergency management agency at the county level. They do an annual sit down and give us our requirements, which don't change a lot from year to year, and then on a quarterly basis, I had to submit my report card essentially of whether we met those requirements or not. The requirements go to training such as exercises. We have to do 3 exercises a year. We easily have 3 exercises every year. As far as staff training and other record keeping type requirements. Fairly simple thing. Not all counties do it because of the matching requirement, and your counties that are not as well funded struggle with this, but of course we don't. So I just want your permission to send this up to the Budget Committee and, of course, the full commission for the mayor to sign it.
Heard the request.
I make the motion to move it forward.
Second. Motion second. Thank you. This was a no-brainer. Helps pay his budget. Okay. Better call the roll on this.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Shea?
Yes. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
y'all. Have a good night.
You too.
Last but not least. How are you tonight?
Good. Thanksgiving. The October report month for Rutherford County Fire Rescue, we had 8 structure fires. We ran 230 medical calls, 37 MVAs with injuries, 27 without injuries, and did 5 extrications. And then actually performed 3 water rescues with the floods we had out there in the Leanna community. A father and 18-month-old, and then earlier that morning we had a lady that drove off in high water on Canesville Pike. So that day started off early, about 4 o'clock, and then we responded out there on Canesville. So a total of 441 calls for service in the month of October, and then for the year-to-date call volume, We've had 69 structure fires. We've ran 2,245 medical calls, 339 MVA with injuries, 267 without injuries, and 33 extrications. And we've also done a total of 12 water rescues for the year. So it's been a big year for that. Total call volume for Rutherford County Fire Rescue year to date is 4,408 calls. Next sheet is showing all the response for the volunteer fire departments. We've had a total of 95 structure fires countywide, 104 brush fires, 34.5 acres burnt, 77 vehicle fires, 8 hazmats, 13 swiftwater rescues, 860 MVAs. 44 of those were with extrication. And then we've had, well, like it's 2245 medical calls, and then a total of 5,370 calls for service across the county. The next sheet is what we send to the county codes department of structures that were damaged by fire, so they can anticipate another permit being pulled for repairs. And then, of course, the last sheet is our fire investigation unit, cases that they've looked into and investigated in the cause and origin. And if there's any questions, that's on my report.
Questions for Chief?
Not related to the report necessarily, but are you guys planning on doing any more demonstrations about extrication, some of those things that you do for public awareness at some of your locations? Again, I know that it can rotate, but I was just curious. I actually had someone ask me related to like school projects and things like that. It made me think about it in that conversation.
If we were invited to a school to have a car set up during extrication, we could.
Okay.
We had an open house out in the Walter Hill area. October the 14th had just a big day as a like Public Safety Day, and it was had about 250 people show up. It was a great turnout for the first time. We did had a house, a little small house that we set on fire and showed how smoke, the different colors of smoke, and how it advances through the structure. How just simply closing a door can smother the fire and put the fire out.
Right.
We did a vehicle extrication, dismantled the car, and had live flight land on the scene, and they were people were able to view the helicopter and go walk all over it and get all over it. And then we had Middle Tennessee Electric come out and with their transformer trailer and did an electrical safety demonstration, which was awesome. So yeah, I mean, we were invited, something like that, had time to plan.
Right.
We could have a vehicle delivered.
I don't know if it was related to something that came up during their career day, or some of them, have to talk to local officials for a government class or something like that. It made me think about when I've seen some of the extrications down at your locations in different areas in the county where community can come out and actually watch that process unfold and what all's involved in it and things like that. That was a lot of that.
A lot of the records in the county are very good to us about bringing us cars that are totaled, and let's cut them up, and then they come and get them too without free of charge.
Okay.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
One thing I can think of that might be good is the next time FD does that, is we film it.
Yeah.
And put it on Channel 19.
Yeah,
so
good
that
point.
people
And I
can
thought
get an
about
idea.
that after the fact, because we have done things in the past, and
Yeah, that would be
OIT is
good.
good about coming out and filming it for
Right.
us.
And-
So that was a missed chance on us.
No, that's all right. There's other opportunities for that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, there's nothing like live, but.
Sure.
But,
Well, we're always doing education training, and I may try to set something up when we have a class, as we're doing a lot of cutting and stuff, to have a camera, have OIT come out and film that.
Well, it kind of ties into what Commissioner Reed was talking about related to the program with the Sheriff's Department for the community to be able to really get involved and understand, even on a somewhat surface level, about what all goes into public safety. We hear about it, just from the reports, but a lot of people don't know what goes on in that, especially with population growth and how many people you need to meet these types of calls and things like that. And that's kind of what triggered it a little bit after I started thinking about, a lot of our community just knows they show up if they call, thankfully, but not a lot of understanding behind what really goes into extrications and, motor vehicle accidents and people that respond and things like that.
Well, actually, one of the good things about the Sheriff's Citizen Academy is that there is a night dedicated where they come out to the fire hall.
Yeah.
And we show them the tools
There you
and
go.
show them our gear and kind of give a synopsis of what it is we do and how we perform our duty.
Right.
And I mean, and a lot of them enjoy it.
Yeah.
A lot of them just putting the turnouts on, don't realize how heavy those are.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's, I mean, they include us in that, and it's kind of an overall public safety course for the whole county. And the sheriff does a good job. They do a good job of that.
Yeah, and it's always, I think Trey might have talked about it earlier too. It's you can hear where your tax money's going, but when you see it, it makes a huge. It's just like schools. People hear that we have a huge school budget and education, but when they see what the new schools look like and students have benefited, I don't think it's any different in public safety when they see the new fire engines and the new cars that we bought last year, I think, that we're hopefully going to prevent some back injuries related to transporting patients and things like that. I think it makes a difference, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things that, I mean, really, and people don't realize how well the sheriff's office and EMS and fire work good together. We got EMTs and paramedics on our fire trucks now. So there's a lot of calls we've answered and people we've actually resuscitated and shot back and out back and they're still living.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and of course that goes hand in hand work with EMS.
Sure.
And they help us to do that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just, there's just a lot of information, a lot of things happen, people don't realize what all goes on.
2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, we had a ribbon cutting out of the new Christiana fire station, which was really good. Huge crowd there. And I was just looking at the report tonight that's come in there from the Christiana station. And I just saw the young man a little while ago that sends that report in that's helping with that station. He's right proud. He said his dad was standing there and he said, yes, said he was real glad that the reports are in on time and make sure that it shows up on the report that it was in on time. But in fact, tonight there is a fireman training course going on out there, and there's a huge crowd coming out for that tonight.
And they're actually hosting a rookie class.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of them going through it.
Yeah.
I think we need to mention not only that all the county public safety departments, including what we've seen here tonight, but also we work a lot with the cities when we have something that's coming up. And so we're not just fighting with each other. We do work together when we have disasters come through and we have quite a few.
Yeah, and we of course we brought a few extra people in, was on standby, and I was in communication with the chief of Northborough Fire Department that if things were to have gone a different direction, we were able to respond and actually go in the city in certain places if they had MVAs or medical calls and stuff, then they were safe to be taxed down here. But thankfully everything went well that day.
I think of the one this summer. It was out here on Manchester Pike. Heading out there.
And that was a year ago. Thanks.
That long? Yeah, when you get old.
233 acres. It's 233 acres burnt about.
It's been a year already.
Yeah. And it was all kinds of people. So,
wow.
While we're talking about volunteer fire departments, if I'm not mistaken, Amarillo has Breakfast with Santa this coming Saturday. I think it's December the 2nd. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure they would appreciate the citizens in that area coming out and
A
supporting
lot
them.
of ham breakfasts and fish fries going on, and it helps to fund their organizations.
did we ever vote on the report?
I don't have a motion.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the report.
Second. Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We have 2 more items of business here before we go. Listen up quick. You know when our next meeting is? Did anybody look at the calendar? December 25th. So how about we move it to December 18th? That sound good? Week before? Anybody have a problem? Okay. Next, we've got May 28th. Happen to know what that is? It's Memorial Day, okay? That Wednesday is open. We could have had it on Tuesday, except one of our commissioners here just went on planning, so. So, okay, do you want to move to Wednesday, the 30th of May? Does that sound good?
Sure. It does.
Okay. Next, and this may be, this is the 22nd of June. No, 23rd, if I put my glass on. Okay. Well, there's a couple things here. They had the proposed commission for the Tuesday, the 26th. This is the 25th, I'm talking about of June. But they're saying that it may be moved back to Monday, the 25th. But I think in June, we usually just pass on that one anyhow, because we just had a commission meeting and we're not going to have another one until August. So just, we'll tentatively put that one down that we're not going to have it, okay? Just so you know, if somebody comes up later and thinks we ought to, we will, okay? Any other business?
One thing really quick, Mr. Chairman, I know Commissioner Rito has been involved, just keep the community of Eagleville in your prayers with losing their vice mayor.
Ronnie.
Very unexpectedly, Ronnie Hill. So it's, I know a lot of people out there were shocked and upset, and understandably so.
Yes. There's no other business? We're adjourned.
Travis, text.